Let's begin our session of Krishna. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nitinamini Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshadarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Shri Shri Radha Vrindavan Chandra Ki Jai Shri Shri Nitai Gauranga Ki Jai Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Nitai Gaur Premanande. So we're discussing from 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. We just began 6th chapter. 6th chapter is called Sankhya Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, where Krishna is going to elaborately describe on the process of the eightfold yoga system, one of the authorized or the authentic yoga system to achieve perfection, as Krishna was indicating in the 5th chapter almost towards the end, that we are supposed to become liberated, to attain the state of liberation. You have to follow this eightfold system, because Krishna was talking about liberation and Brahma Nirvana in the 5th chapter, during the last few verses discussions. So liberation in the Supreme, liberation in Brahman is what Krishna was talking about. So for that, Krishna is recommending a practical process called Ashtanga Yoga. And in the previous chapter, 5th chapter, Krishna also was answering the question of Arjuna with regard to what is better, whether sannyasa or yoga, what is better, right? Krishna said both are okay, but working in devotion is better, Krishna was telling. So here, in this chapter, if you see the beginning only, Krishna begins by telling, these 4 verses what we discussed last time, in the first verse he's telling that who is a perfect sannyasi, who is a perfect yogi, right? That's what he says in the verse number 1. Anashrita karma phalam karyam karma karotiyaha. So one who is unattached to the fruits of his work, which means whatever action we do, I'm not attached to the fruits, attached to the results of the work. This Krishna has been stressing from the very beginning of Bhagavad Gita, right? And also in 5th chapter we heard, Brahmanyadhaya karmani sangam tyaktva karotiya. Sangam tyaktva means not being attached to fruits, because that is the conditioning we have. Whatever we do, we want to enjoy the results, enjoy the fruits of the work. So this mentality of enjoying the fruits of the work is binding us. So Krishna begins that one who is unattached to fruits of his work and karyam karma karotiya, who is dutifully performing his prescribed duties, his prescribed work as given in the scriptures. He is a real sannyasi, he is a real yogi. Perfect yogi, perfect sannyasi, he says. Not that simply you make a show that, I am not doing any ritualistic activities of performing yajnas, or I am not doing any work. He is not actually a sannyasi or a yogi. Actually, you should understand this words, sannyasi and yogi, from the Krishna's point of view. Sannyasa basically means one who is fixed in knowledge, proper understanding, that everything belongs to Krishna, and he stops the functions of the senses in a way that he is not engaging the senses for anything else, and also he renounces the results of his actions for Krishna's purpose. That is sannyasa. Sannyasa basically means not using anything for my personal gratification, doing everything for Krishna, because I've got a fixed understanding of what is real understanding, what is the real aspect of the existence, the reality. And what is yoga means? Yoga, from the Bhagavad Gita understanding means having connection with Krishna always, wherein your mind is not agitated by unnecessarily uh, uh, so many other diversions. And basically, diversion is with regard to objects of sense gratification. Right? Sense gratification, so objects are diverting you to go here and there, getting scattered. Right? So, yoga also means what? To keep in connection with Krishna without your mind getting agitated by sense diversions. And sannyasa also means now having proper understanding, fixed knowledge that yes, this should be done for Krishna, not for one's own gratification. So in that sense, both mean the same actually. There's different terminology. So Prabhupada very nicely explains that actually the living entity, spirit soul, constitutionally is what? What is this? What is its actual swarupa? Its swarupa, its nature is that we are all eternally part and parcel of Krishna. Just like the parts of our body are working for the satisfaction of the body, whole body, right? Not individually, our hands don't work for themselves. We are the whole body, different parts are working for the satisfaction of the whole body. The living entity, when it acts for the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord, who is actually Supreme Whole, Krishna, not for personal satisfaction, he is a perfect sannyasi, perfect yogi. Prabhupada says it is the purport of first verse. So the first verse is about the perfect yogi, perfect sannyasi, or a real yogi, real sannyasi. Having said this, Krishna clarifies in the verse number 2, actually sannyasa and yoga are same, no difference. I just now explained to you. One is cultivating knowledge and coming to the point of understanding everything belongs to Krishna, everything should be used for Krishna. One more is yoga means practically acting in every way, every action. That there's without any diversion for sense gratification, just focusing on satisfaction of Krishna. Right? Both are in one sense same. That's what Krishna says, that yoga and sannyasa are the same. Why? Because nobody can become a yogi unless he renounces the desire for sense gratification. Krishna says this, right? Nahi asanyasta sankalpo yogi bhavati kaschana. So basically these two verses, first two verses of 6th chapter are like preamble to the whole yoga system. Any yoga system for that matter. Jnana yoga, or dhyana yoga, or bhakti yoga, karma yoga, anything. Any yoga system. Yoga means the process meant to connect to the Supreme. Right? Wherein your senses are now diverted here and there, just they're engaging in the service of the Supreme Lord. Now, next two verses, 3 and 4, Krishna is describing the different stages of specifically the Ashtanga Yoga, with the yoga system which we're going to discuss, right? So there are 2 stages, Krishna says in the verse number 3. The 2 stages are Aruruksha, Yoga Aruruksha. Means Yoga Aruruksha means the beginning stage or the neophyte stage. Krishna says in the beginning stage, one is supposed to perform prescribed duties. Karma karana muchyate, which means activities has to be performed. You cannot be idle. Right? You have to perform activities, what is prescribed in that specific yoga system, especially in Ashtanga yoga system. There are many processes of do's, don'ts, right? Yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, all those things you have to do step by step. So why all these activities are prescribed? So that you can develop detachment from sense gratification, and gradually purification of heart happens from the different conditionings which the living entity has. So this is called Yoga Ruksha stage, wherein you are getting prepared to move forward in your discipline of performance of yoga, step by step. Next, Krishna tells the advanced stage called Yoga Rudha stage. Actually, this Yoga Ruksha and Yoga Rudha, Krishna explains in third and fourth verses. Right? Specifically in fourth verse, Krishna explains about the yoga rudha, means the advanced stage. Beginning stage, advanced stage. This is important for us to understand the next discussion. That's why I'm again visiting these verses. So when your desires for sense gratification is, to some extent controlled, there's a stage in Ashtanga Yoga called Pratyahara. Pratyahara basically means withdrawing the senses from sense objects, and the next stage called Dharana, wherein you are fixing the mind on the Lord's form. So wherein your desires for sense gratification is subsided, then what happens? Krishna says in the Yoga Rudha stage, cessation of material activities means you're not going to do all the other activities. Already you have come to a certain stage of advancement. It's like, you have already finished your high school and you're going to college. You will not be again taught ABCD. It's like that. Right? So Prabhupada also compares the whole yoga process as the yoga ladder. Right? So yoga ladder basically means any yoga process step by step as you move forward. It's like different stages of yoga perfection you go on reaching. Right? So in that way, Krishna says, in this stage, as Krishna says in verse number 4, that the yogi, the practitioner, he has renounced all desires for materialistic gratification, material sense gratification. Sarva Sankalpa Sannyasi. Right? He has given all the desires for sense gratification, no material desires. And in that way, he is not acting for anything. His actions are not having any inclination for sense gratification. Right? Neither acts for sense gratification, as Krishna Prabhupada says. Yadahi na indriyarteshu, na karmasu, nor engages in fruitive activity, which means actions driven by some results for personal gratification. Right? So this is this is the advanced stage. So in that way, the advanced stage is, Prabhupada says, when it is accomplished in the practice of meditation, he ceases all disturbing mental activities. So what happens in the advanced stage? Advanced stage of dhyana, that is the seventh stage of Ashtanga Yoga, your meditation becomes intensified. And you are aiming for the perfection known as samadhi. All this is explained step by step in the next few verses by Lord Krishna. I'm just giving you a background. So samadhi is complete absorption in the form of Krishna. So beginning stage is called Yoga Ruksha, and the advanced stage is called Yoga Rudha stage. So with this, Krishna again is going to tell us, with the practice of any yoga, two important aspects is, one is mind control, and second is detachment from sense objects. Right? So only then you can become an advanced devotee. Right? Mind control and detachment from sense objects are the two important requirements for any yoga practice. And finally, to come to the perfectional stage called Yoga Rudha. From Yoga Ruksha, beginning to Yoga Rudha, these two aspects are very important. So Krishna now speaks on the aspect of mind control in verses 5 and 6. Very famous verses they are. Verse number 5, Krishna says, Uddhared Atmanatmanam Natmanam Avasadayet Atmaiva hi Atmano Bandhur Atmaiva Ripuratmanaha. Right? Krishna says, one should elevate himself, Uddhared. One should Uddhara means you should elevate yourself or progress yourself by our own mind. Atma, the word Atma in Sanskrit has different meanings according to different contexts. Prabhupada says the word Atma has a meaning on body or mind or soul based on the context. Different circumstances, different meanings can be given. So you say that way, you see Krishna using Atman Atmanam. Atma, two times. One Atma is the body, one Atma is the mind. Right. So Krishna says, a man must elevate himself by his own mind, not degrade himself. Right. Natmanam avasadayet. So Uddhara should do, you should elevate yourself by the mind, not degrade yourself. Because mind can be your friend, mind can be your enemy as well. Right. So enemy is not very far away, it's within you. Right. Within 2 years, your mind is there. Right. Between 2 years, your enemy is there. It can be a good friend also. So the stress on the importance of mind control in the yoga practice is given by Krishna in this verse. Because Prabhupada says mind is the central point of yoga practice. Because with regard to our existence right now, mind is that subtle sense within us actually connect us or connect our attention, is attention carrier, right? From the Atma to our gross existence, right? So mind is that carrier, attention carrier. So mind is that way plays a very important role in our any action we do. So the purpose of yoga system is basically to control the mind and withdraw it away from sense objects. Right. So because as we have understood in third chapter, above the gross senses is the mind. And above the mind is the intelligence. Indriyani paranyahur indriyebhya param manaha manasastu parabuddhi. And above the mind is the ego, and above ego is the spirit soul. But right now, the false ego of misidentifying ourselves with the body and the intelligence which is actually distorted have given the power of attorney to mind. You do whatever you want. Right? Prabhupada says that in the third chapter. Power of attorney means mind is something who can do everything. Other people are sleeping. Sort of. Right? So mind plays a very vital role. So that's why Krishna is stressing here that the mind must be trained. Right? So that it can deliver you from this material world. We'll see the importance of mind more as we move forward. In fact, in the 8th chapter, Krishna says that mind is that particular subtle sense which will decide whether you have to liberate from this world or entangle yourself. Right? Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tiyatyante kalevaram. 8th chapter, Krishna says, whatever thought process is going on in your mind at the time of death, that type of body you're going to get finally. That's why you have to think of me, Krishna says. Antakale cha mameva swaran muktva kalevaram. The functions of the mind is thinking, feeling, willing. So these actions of these functions of the mind is executed to the senses. Right? So in that way, mind is the repository of all say directions to be given to the senses. So Prabhupada very nicely explains, in the material world what has happened is you are influenced in a way that your mind is diverted and distorted to do many actions which is not favorable to your soul. The pure soul is right now entangled in the material world because we have identified ourselves with the body. So this is what is the present situation right now. So the mind is that sense which, if it is properly trained, it can deliver you. So Prabhupada is giving very nice, wonderful description about this mind. And the mind is like it is actually in one sense driving you. Prabhupada is in one context he mentions how you are sitting in a car and the driver is driving your car, and then If you are properly directing the mind, he will take you to the right destination. And if you don't have any direction, and just tell driver wherever you want to take me. That's what is happening with ordinary with people, what they're doing. They're just driven by wherever the mind wants to take them. I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do this, I want to enjoy like this, I want to see this. That's what mind says, and your senses are just running. Right? So like that, our mind is controlling all our senses and driving them wherever it is conditioned to. So if the mind is trained, Prabhupada gives an example. Okay, now 6:30 is Bhagavad Gita class. Nothing to do. I'll not do anything. Not going to mall, or not going to watching a movie, or not doing some gossiping. I'll just sit here for 1 hour for hearing Bhagavad Gita. So mind should listen, right? Otherwise, no, why week we hear 1 week we'll give chutti, holiday, Republic Day, no, holiday. So that if you tell the mind also, okay, good, let's go. So that mind has so many conditions. It all depends on what your mind wants to do, and so many qualities of determination, enthusiasm, confidence, all connected to mind. Right? So that's why Krishna has been telling about this many aspects from the beginning. If you're firm in determination, then you'll have one fixed goal. If your determination is scattered, then you are many branched. Krishna said in the second chapter, right? So like that, mind plays a very vital role. So mind should be trained so that you are not again getting entangled in this material world. And the stress of the importance of mind control, Krishna has explained so nicely in second chapter in many verses towards the last few verses, right? While Arjuna had asked question, what is the symptoms of a sthita prajna? How does he sit? How does he walk? How does he talk? Right? That way, Krishna took the opportunity to explain the various aspects of how uncontrolled mind can become very dangerous. So mind control has been stressed from the very beginning, and specifically here Krishna is in yoga system. Yes, mind control is very essential requirement, and very nicely Prabhupada quotes one statement from the Vedic literature. He says, "Mana eva manushyanam karanam bandha mokshayo bandhaya vishaya sango muktei nirvishayam manaha." Right? Krishna, the Vedic literature says, Mana means mind for the manushyanam, for the man, mind is the reason for both bandha and moksha. Karanam bandha mokshaya. Both for the bondage and liberation, mind is the cause. How it is the cause of bondage? Bandhaya vishaya sangha. Mind absorbed in objects of sense gratification or sense objects. If mind is only absorbed, I have to see this, I have to eat this, I have to experience this, I have to enjoy like this. This is all mind is fully absorbed 24 hours in thoughts of sense gratification. That is the cause of bondage. And the mind, which is detached from sense objects, which means mind absorbed in Krishna consciousness. Muktya nirvishayam manaha. This is what Krishna has been telling from the beginning of Bhagavad Gita. When the mind is becoming absorbed in sense objects or sense gratification, that is the cause of bondage. Mind absorbed in Krishna consciousness is the cause of liberation. Very simple. So Prabhupada says the more one is attracted by sense objects, the more one becomes entangled in material existence. Very simple statements Prabhupada is making. The mind, the practice of bhakti means what? But practice of Krishna consciousness means how the mind can be detached from the sense objects. More you're attached, absorbed in sense objects means more entanglement. Chanting of Hare Krishna mantra or many other practices which is recommended is all meant to detach the mind from sense objects and develop attachment to Krishna. See, we are not telling simply detach from sense objects. No, that is one way of telling no. But what is positive? Positive is becoming attached to Krishna. So, becoming attached to Krishna, automatically drives away sense objects. That is what Krishna explained as a principle in second chapter. Right? Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehina. 2.59. Krishna explained that higher taste, when you engage yourself in Krishna's service, you develop such a nice taste that automatically this taste for sense objects becomes very, very low, insignificant. That's the thing. So the more you are absorbed in sense objects, that's the cause of entanglement. And the more the mind is absorbed in Krishna consciousness, that is the cause of liberation. That's why Krishna says liberation means uddhara. How to do good to your soul by engaging it in Krishna's service. More and more bhakti if you engage your mind in. That's why it's so important that absorbing the mind, the subject matter of the mind should be about devotional service. Devotional service also includes when you are discussing or, okay, today we discussed this many things in Bhagavad Gita, remembering them. It also is devotion. Instead of remembering, oh, I saw this serial today morning, oh, that heroine said this, hero said this, that is sense object. Right? That, okay, this politics, that happened, this happened, that discussion. Again, absorption in sense objects. Different varieties of sense gratification are there. Right? So, Shukadeva Goswami, while responding to Parishit's questions, Parishit asked two questions when he met Shukadeva Goswami. What is that I am supposed to be doing? Because I am almost about to die now. What is that I am supposed to hear, chant, glorify, remember? And specifically for people who are leading their lives, what they should do throughout their life and what they should not do. These are the two questions he asked. So Shukadeva Goswami began answering these questions in second canto of Bhagavatam. This is towards the first canto, last Parishit asked questions. And Shukadeva Goswami had answering them. You're telling, oh, your question is very glorious, Parishit Maharaj. And the answer to these questions is so wonderful that it will benefit the entire humanity. And he said that actually people in the material world have so many things to discuss. Shrotavyadini Rajendra Nrinam Santi Sahasrashaha. They have thousands and thousands of things to discuss. Politics, economics, finance, science, technology, so many things. And all of them are, they are Shrotavyadini Rajendra Nrinam Santi Sahasrashaha Apashyatam Atma Tattvam. They are completely blind for Atma Tattva, or they are not even aware of what is real self-realization. They're all fully absorbed in Griheshu Griha Medhinam. They're just thinking, me, my family, my country, that's all. My life is over. Like that, people are absorbed in these subject matters. So I'm just trying to tell you, mind absorbed in sense gratification means what? Mind absorbed in anything other than Krishna conscious activities or bhakti activities. Anything not connected to Krishna is actually mind in sense gratification. Mind absorbed in sense gratification. Okay. Now, verse number 6, Krishna is having a similar theme, what he explained in verse number 5. He says, Bandhur atmatmanastasya enatmaivatmana jitaha anatmanastu shatrutve vartet atmaiva shatruvat. So here Krishna is telling bandhu. Bandhu means friend, right? Your mind can become your bandhu, friend, when you have proper control over your mind. And the same mind can become your shatru, right? Friend, enemy. Bandhu, when you have control over the mind, and it will become shatru. Yena anatmanastu shatrutve vartet atmaiva shatruvat. And when you are not properly controlling it, this very mind will be your greatest enemy. So conquering the mind is the best of friends. And one who has failed to do so, his very mind will be the greatest enemy. Krishna said in first verse 5, use your mind to elevate yourself. Uddhared atmanatmanam. Right? Elevate yourself, use the mind. Don't use it for degradation. Because mind can be your friend and enemy. And how it can be friend and enemy, Krishna is telling, if you have control over your mind, that is how it can become your friend. And you don't have control over your mind, it can be your greatest enemy. So the purpose of any yoga system, for that matter, especially the yoga system called Ashtanga Yoga, which we'll be discussing now, is actually having the purpose of controlling the mind. And once the mind is controlled, other senses are automatically under control. Right? So it's called Yoga Indriya Samyama. The purpose of first step in yoga practice is the control of the mind. So that when the mind is controlled, the other step follows. Next progress follows. Right? Prabhupada says, unless this mind is not controlled, simply a show of yoga is of no use. Prabhupada says, very strong words, it is a waste of time. Right? Why? Because nowadays people make a show of practicing yoga. Prabhupada says this. They attend some yoga classes, some meditation classes, and after yoga is over, they'll again come to their normal life of intoxicating, indulging in sense gratification. So what is the use? Your whole yoga practice is simply time pass or what? So yoga means control your senses, and that practice has to be continued in your other aspects of your life. So Prabhupada says, unless you have this mind control means there are some rules, regulations which has to be followed. Unless that is done throughout the day after day in your life, any yoga practice is simply a farce. It's a waste of time. Prabhupada says, one who cannot control his mind lives always with the greatest enemy. And thus his life and mission are spoiled. What is the mission of life? Mission of human life? Mission of human life is to come out of the cycle of birth and death. Right? One side, you are practicing some yoga, and other side, you're also indulging in sense gratification. What is the use? It's like you want to heat an iron rod. You're kept in the fire for some time, and after some time, you take the iron rod and keep it in this deep freezer. Right? All the heat, what it has developed, is gone for a fixer. Again, you take it out, keep it in the fire. Again, to become to normal temperature, it will take so much time. So the lesson what we have to learn here is mind control, which means as you move forward in our progress in our spiritual life, we have to ensure that what we have understood is important in our life to as what should be done, what should not be done. Yama niyama. Yama means don'ts. The regulations of prohibitions. You should not do this. What are things we should not do? No meat eating, no intoxication, no gambling, no illicit sex. 4 no's. Right? Niyama. So yama is no. Niyama is do. The regulations or prescriptions. Do this. Eat only Krishna Prasada. Right? Every day chant Hare Krishna mantra. Fixed number of times. Every day read Bhagavad Gita. Every day do Aarti in your house or attend Aarti in temple. Like this, there are do's. So do's and don'ts should be followed. That's what mind should be disciplined. Not that mind, no, today is very cold. Today I will take some coffee tea. Then What happened to your so many days of not following that? So mind will say, right? So mind should be told, no, you cannot do that. So Prabhupada, that's what he says, your mission is spoiled. Mission of your life is spoiled. So the whole point is, the enemy is right there. If your mind will become your enemy by spoiling your mission. And if your mind is trained properly, that very mind can become your best enemy. Best friend. That's the point. So Prabhupada very nicely explains that the constitutional position of the living entity is to carry out the order of the superior as spirit soul, Jivera Swarupa Nitya Krishna Dasa. Spirit soul constitution, spirit soul's nature is what? To follow the order of the superior, of the authority. So when the mind is not controlled, mind is following the dictates of your own conditioned way of so many past lives, kama, krodha, lobha, moha, maha, matsarya. 6 enemies are sitting in our consciousness, polluted consciousness. Right? Rupa Goswami says, kamadinam katina palita durnideshaha. So Paramatma also is sitting, and his enemy is also sitting, because we have given place for them also. So uncontrolled mind means you become the servant of these enemies, and you follow the dictates of these enemies. Kama, krodha, lobha. Right? And controlled mind means not following the dictates of these enemies, rather following the dictates of what Krishna wants us to do. What Krishna wants, how do you know? Krishna is telling in Bhagavad Gita. Paramatma is telling. Right? So, whatever Krishna wants us to do, I will do it voluntarily. By following the dictations Krishna has given in Bhagavad Gita. That is called control of mind. Mind, by conditioned way in the material world, wants to do something else. But no, I want to do this. I will do this what Krishna wants. Right? So, and this is what Krishna is telling us here, that following the dictations of what Guru and Krishna have given as per Bhagavad Gita, that is called control of mind. And when you just allow the mind to act whimsically, whatever way it wants to act, that is called uncontrolled mind. That is enemy. And following the Guru and Krishna directions, that is called controlled mind. Very simple understanding. So in verses 5 and 6, Krishna is stressing on the importance of mind control and detachment from sense objects as the important requirements for yoga practice and progress in yoga, in any yoga practice, especially Ashtanga Yoga. So, verse number 1, Krishna gives a definition of real yogi and real sannyasi. Who is a real yogi? Is real sannyasi who engages all his actions for satisfaction of Krishna, engages all his senses for satisfaction of Krishna. And verse number 2, Krishna said, yoga, sannyasa are same, basically, because finally you have to detach yourself from sense gratification tendencies and engage everything for Krishna's service. Right? And third and fourth verse, Krishna explained about the beginning stage and the advanced stage. In beginning stage, one is engaged in many activities gradually, so that is coming to a level of stabilizing his consciousness with not getting distracted from sense objects. Advanced stage, you are not distracted so much, and you are intensifying your activity of meditation on Krishna. Right? That is called advanced stage. Yoga Ruksha stage, Yoga Rudha stage. Right? Then Krishna explained about the mind control. Importance of mind control, how mind can be your enemy and friend in verse number 5 and 6. Now, next 3 verses, 7, 8, 9, Krishna is going to explain to us the symptoms of a person in the advanced stage. Verse number 7, 8, 9 is going to give descriptions of the symptoms of a person in Yoga Rudha stage, advanced stage. Jitatmana prashantasya paramatma samahitaha shitoshna sukha dukkheshu tatha manapa manayo. So, Krishna and Krishna was telling about mind control. One who has controlled the mind is a friend, a bandhu. One who is not control the mind is your shatru, right? It becomes a friend when you control. When you don't control, it is your enemy. So, one who has controlled the mind, for him, jitatmanaha, the first symptom of a yoga ruda, means advanced devotee, is that he is able to control his mind. One example, which Krishna explains in the second chapter, he says, a person who is sthita prajna, he'll withdraw his senses like a tortoise, and whenever required for Krishna's service, he'll engage them. Right? You've got this example in second chapter. So like that, he is having a controlled mind. Controlled mind is, his mind is used only for Krishna's services, Lord's services. First symptom. And symptom number 2 is prashantasya. There are 10 symptoms. Krishna is going to explain this 3 verses. Symptom number 2 is prashantasya. Prashantasya means he has attained tranquility. Tranquility means he is not agitated by any situations externally. About this also Krishna has explained in the previous chapters in different contexts. One example which Krishna gives in the second chapter is about how so many waves, rather so many rivers are flowing into the ocean, but the ocean always remain calm. Likewise, so many desires are coming in the heart of a yogi, but he is not agitated by those desires. It's called prashanta. Right? The first symptom is mind is controlled, jitatmanaha, prashantasya, tranquility, mind is very peaceful, and paramatma samahitaha. Very wonderful point Krishna says. One who has controlled the mind, he has already reached Paramatma, means Paramatma is with him. Right? So, when the mind is controlled means what? You are following Krishna's directions, Guru's directions, which means you are with Krishna. Very simple to understand. When you chant Hare Krishna, Prabhupada says you are associating with Krishna. Right? When you chant the holy names of Krishna, you are associating with Krishna. You are with Krishna, because that Krishna and Krishna's names are non-different. So when you abide by Krishna's orders of following the principles of bhakti, Krishna is there with you. That's what Krishna is confirming here. Paramatma samahitaha. You already reached Paramatma. Right? Prabhupada says one has to abide by the superior dictation. When one's mind is fixed on superior nature, he has no other alternative but to follow the dictation of Supreme. Right? Mind's nature is something it has to follow. Either you follow your conditioned dictates. Conditioned dictates means kama, krodha, lobha, moha. It's all like enemies there. Krishna says in 3rd chapter. Whereas Krishna's directions are beneficial for you, for your own spiritual growth. Right? You have to follow somebody. That's the mind's nature. The Prabhupada says the mind must admit some superior dictation and follow it. So controlling mind means, Prabhupada says, one automatically follows the dictation of Paramatma or Super Soul. Because in Krishna consciousness or devotional service, whatever we do is based on Guru, Sadhu, Shastra, which means Krishna's direction. Right? So in that way, the devotee is always in touch with Krishna, always in contact with Krishna. Very wonderful understanding. Very wonderful revelation Krishna is giving. So first symptom is jitatmana. Mind is controlled always. Then prashantasya, he is in a very peaceful condition, tranquility. Third, paramatma samahitaha. Right? Super soul is already reached, which means he is always in constant connection with Krishna. Paramatma feature. Right? Then, 4th symptom, Krishna says, Shitoshna sukha dukkheshu tatha manapa manayo. The 4th symptom. Right? This is like, you are neutral in all conditions of Shita Ushna, heat, cold. Then Sukha Dukkha, happiness, distress. Then mana, apamana. Honor, dishonor. So very nicely Krishna is explaining this. First of all, Shita Ushna is concerning your body, gross body, bodily level, physical level. Then happiness, distress is at the emotional level, right? Mental level, in one sense. Right? Your feeling of levels of happiness, distress is at the emotional level. And the third point which Krishna is telling is about uh, mana apamana. Mana apamana is further higher level, just like gross level, mind, then intelligence, then ego. Egoistic level. What is egoistic level?
ಅದು ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಅದು ಬೇಡದು.
Egoistic level is like, I got hurt. My honor got, I was dishonored, like that. This is called egoistic level. So egoistic level is what? Honor, dishonor, respect, disrespect. So very nicely Krishna says, for you, honor, dishonor, or happiness, distress, heat, cold are all same. Right? I like to narrate a very nice small incident in Prabhupada's Leela. We were discussing about one nice point today in Bhagavatam about what is the difference between devotee and ordinary people. Devotee and ordinary people, what is the difference? So once Prabhupada was traveling from Mauritius to South Africa in a plane, in a flight. In the flight earlier, there was a division of in the flight earlier, there were divisions of smoking zone and non-smoking zone. Okay, at least now everything is non-smoking zone, but there was some division earlier. So wherever you want, you could book your ticket. Either you could sit in the smoking zone or non-smoking zone. It so happened that in the smoking zone there were some football players, some country they were traveling, and then in the backside non-smoking zone, Prabhupada and his secretary were traveling, and some other people were traveling. So this football players, they were all in a different mood. They were loudly talking, shouting, and then they were all smoking. Okay, and the secretary felt his voice is too loud and they're too much smoking. The smoke is coming all the way up to here. So he felt that let us at least tell the air hostess to see that they control themselves. So he told air hostess to go and inform them not to shout too much, because our guru is sitting, and then all these things he told. So, but even after air hostess going and telling, they didn't stop, rather their voice increased, the pitch increased. That's what happens, when you're told not to do, they will do that more and more. So like this was going on, and the secretary was becoming very agitated, and he was about to get up and start and take action on those people. And Prabhupada was sitting next to him, and he told, sit down. Prabhupada said, what is the difference between you and them if you can't tolerate? If you behave like them, like them, shouting and everything again to them, what is the point? So basically, this is just like the aspect of tolerance and intolerance. There was I think news, all of you would have read, how there was some dense fog in the North Indian area, and then the flights were all getting delayed. One flight was so much delayed, the passengers were made to sit in the flight for almost 13 hours. And the pilot came and announced, we're going to be delayed for another half an hour. One angry passenger came and started hitting the pilot only. Okay, so then that air hostess was becoming she got so annoyed, she started screaming, what are you doing? This is why this video was somewhat circulated all over. Basically trying to tell you how people have some level of tolerance and intolerance levels, right? So Prabhupada, in many instances in his life, you can see When Prabhupada initially he went to America, he was staying as a guest in one acquaintance. In the same fridge where he had kept his vegetables, in the below rack there was meat kept. Prabhupada had said nothing. Tolerant. That's how their life is. I have come as a guest. Sometimes we become so intolerant. Arey, sabji mein onion mil gaya. Woo! You make a big, noise out of it as though onion will kill you. Okay, onion, you got to keep it aside and eat. What to do? Don't insult the guest. Basically, sensitivity, the maturity which you are supposed to achieve. That's what I want to tell you. So, the different levels of maturity which we have to develop. Many times we have seen, like people coming to temple and darshans, and when you meet people, watch boat thand hai na? Yes, thand to hoga. Kya kare? Aisa mausam hai to thand hoga. Whenever there is cold, means you have to take care of the cold. And rather think of cold, why don't you think of Krishna? Right? That's what should always remember. So, when Krishna is telling, they are neutral towards Shita, Ushna, Sukha, Dukkha, Mana, Apamana. Right? That is what you're supposed to. That is the symptom of advanced stage. That's what Krishna is telling us here. Next, in verse number 8, Krishna says, Jnana Vijnana Triptatma Kutastho Vijitendriyaha Yukta iti Uchyate Yogi Samalostrashma Kanchanaha. So the symptom number 5 is Jnana Vijnana Triptatma. He is satisfied, or he's fully happy by the virtue of acquired knowledge and realization. Right? It's a very important point. So, Prabhupada says, book knowledge is not enough. Book knowledge without self-realization is useless. Right? Simply, I know all verses of Bhagavad Gita, but what do they mean? What is that I'm supposed to be doing in my life? That I don't know. I only know verses. I only know, that's what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. I'm scholarly. That is of no use. We are supposed to realize, have self-realization. Jnana Vijnana. See, Krishna is using 2 words. Jnana Vijnana. Just knowledge is not enough. You're supposed to have realization. What is realization? Realization means, self-realization means understanding that I am not the body, I am spirit, soul. This reality of life you have to live in. Even though you have read Bhagavad Gita, but you are not realized you are not the body, your spirit, soul, then there is no question of realization. You only have knowledge. There are 2 aspects. One is knowledge, one is realized knowledge. So Prabhupada says, book knowledge without realization is useless. So, how do you get realization? Realization is possible only when you do service to pure devotees. Under their direction, you serve Krishna, then only realization comes. Right? So, this chanting of Hare Krishna, as per Prabhupada's direction, is the service we are supposed to be doing. Then realization comes. That's why Bhagavad Gita reading, along with Bhagavad Gita reading, you have to also chant. Chanting Hare Krishna is so important because that is a service. Prabhupada is quoting from one nice scripture, Padma Purana. Atha Shri Krishna Namadi na bhaved grahyam indriyai sevonmukehi jihvadau swayam eva spuratyadaha. Right? Because Krishna's name, form, quality, pastimes, Nama, Rupa, Guna, Leela, other Shri Krishna Namadi, they're all spiritual, transcendental. They cannot be realized or understood by our material senses. Very important. Our material senses are right now blunt. Blunt means Krishna is there in our heart as Paramatma. I am not able to understand, realize. No realization is there. I can't see. Realize means seeing the reality. Right? So right now we are all clouded. Just like when there is dark clouds, dense cloud in the sky, sun is hidden. So the cloud of illusion is covering our understanding now. Ignorance is covering our understanding. So we are not able to realize Krishna's presence everywhere. Right? So we have to render service. Sevon mukehi jihvado. Render service under direction of spiritual master. Then revelation, if Krishna wants, will happen. Divya jnana hriday prakashito. If Krishna wants, he will reveal. But service has to be done by us. That is what Krishna says. So the scriptures say. So in that way, Prabhupada is telling this Bhagavad Gita is actually science of Krishna consciousness. What is science? Science is not simply knowledge, theoretical knowledge. It is also practical. Practical is what realization means. Simply H2O, H plus hydrogen, oxygen will make water. It's a theory. You go to chemistry lab and combine hydrogen, oxygen. Oh, I can see water. So practical aspect of what is what. What is this life? What is this body? Why are we seeing? Basically, realization means seeing things from the Bhagavad Gita's perspective. That is called realization. Right. So simply becoming scholar in Bhagavad Gita with only knowing some things what is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita without practically applying them is of no use. Right. So Prabhupada is stressing on this point that how when you are associating with pure devotees, following their directions, perform devotional service, only then you will get realization. Jnana Vijnana Triptatma. Prabhupada makes a very nice statement that by transcendental knowledge, one can remain steady in his conviction. By that is what Krishna says. Next point, for point number 6, he says, Kutastaha. Kutastha means situated in transcendence, established in self-realization. How it is possible? When you have realized knowledge. Right? Otherwise, what happens? You will be mere academic knowledge can be easily deluded. Mayar Vaibhava, Jada Vidya Mayar Vaibhava, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, which means every time you're getting bewildered. Oh, what is this? What is this world? New things coming up every time. Because world is, very vichitra, very bewildering. So Prabhupada says, mere academic knowledge, one can be easily deluded and confused by apparent contradictions. This also, that also, how? Right? Because, for you it is all bewilderment. Whereas devotional service or Krishna consciousness is such that you are fixed in proper understanding what is real. Krishna is behind all these wonderful things. So, Kutastaha, symptom number 6. And your Vijitendriya. Vijitendriya means you are fully self-controlled. Self-control means all your senses are under complete control and they are used only for Krishna's service. That's the point. So that is symptom number 7. And symptom number 8, further Krishna says that Yukta iti uchyate yogi. He is self-realized in such a way that he is called a yogi by this way. Yukta iti uchyate yogi. Samalostashma kanchanaha. Again, he is having equal vision with regard to sama losta ashma kanchanaha. Lostra means pebbles, ashma means stone, kanchana means gold. Whether it is stone or valuable gold, it doesn't make any distinction. Oh, we value gold and keep it in the our locker. Stones, let it lie outside, no problem. Nobody will take. Right? Whereas for a self-realized soul, he knows all of them are finally matter in true essence. It's like the story of Sanatan Goswami who had, when villager came, farmer came and asked, give me valuable thing. Lord Shiva sent me here. Okay, go to that dustbin. There is one Chintamani, take it. Chintamani means touchstone. Anything you touch with touchstone to any metal, iron, it will become gold. So he picked up and finally after that farmer was going back to his house. And if it is so valuable, why this Goswami has kept it in the dustbin? Or rather thrown in dustbin. He came back and asked, what why did you put this in dustbin? Or rather, why it was not kept preserved properly? If you really want valuable thing, throw this in Yamuna and come back. I'll tell you what is most valuable. He threw it and came back. Then Sanatana Goswami said, you chant Hare Krishna mantra. That is the most valuable asset which will be carrying with you. So this is this is a sign of advanced, mature person in yoga system. So we are discussing about the advanced yoga symptoms or advanced symptoms of a person who is in advanced stage of yoga practice, yoga ruda stage. Verse number 9, Suhrun mitra dudasina madhyastha dvesha bandushu sadhushu apicha papeshu sama buddhir vishishyate. So further, different types of people, how you are equipoised with all people. One is you are equal to your own things, what is happening. Sama, you're equal with regard to Sita, Ushna, Sukha, Dukkha, Mana, Apamana, and you're also equal to external objects like stone, gold, other things. You're not considering, oh, this is very valuable, this is not valuable. No, you're not having any distinction that. And also with regard to people, you're not making discrimination. That's what this verse is telling. A person is said to be still further advanced when he regards all the honest well-wisher, friends, enemies, envious, pious, the sinner, and those who are indifferent and impartial with an equal mind. Right? So this partiality, oh, he is my friend, he is my enemy, he is that, he is good, he is bad, all these various distinctions and discriminations we start making, that's actually because of our dualistic mentality. You have to transcend these dualistic type of visions, rather understanding. Basically, as Krishna mentioned in the 5th chapter, Samadarshana, right? Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Kavi Hastini Shuni Cheva Shapakecha Pandita Samadarshana, 5.18, 18th verse of 5th chapter. Samadarshana, the spiritual vision is what the advanced yogi has developed. Equal vision, right? So advanced level of equipoised vision is what Krishna is telling about. And here, first he said about your personal body, then he told about the objects, sense objects, and then about people around you. How you are discriminating, or rather you are identifying, oh, he's my enemy, he's my friend, he's my well-wisher, he is envious, he is good, he is sinner, he is... Right? Prabhupada quotes in one lecture, he says, Jesus Christ says, don't hate the sinner, hate the sin. Because all said and done, every living entity is a spirit soul. Every human being is spirit soul. The soul, due to its own conditioning, it has performed an action which has made him to look in the eyes of common man as sinner. But spirit soul is pure, right? So in that way, the compassion of great personalities, great saintly persons like Jesus Christ is so wonderful. Don't hate the sinner, hate the sin. Right? Like how Prabhupada, when he went to the West and the hippies, if he had, why Prabhupada had to go to such a downtrodden and a very, abominable place? He was seeing they're all souls, spirit souls. Even though they are downtrodden, they are spirit souls. Given an opportunity and association, they can elevate themselves. That's the point. So when you see people around us in different situations, different circumstances, we should not discriminate and have this mentality of distinction and all. That is, this distinction is again materialistic mind, not advanced stage, a neophyte stage. Advanced stage means you see everybody as spirit soul, and due to their own previous actions, they have put in this condition. How can I help? How can I, see that I can be of some help to them? Right? Very nice pastime before I close. Prabhupada in Vrindavan used to, have darshan. People used to come and meet him. So once after they meet him, Prabhupada used to give them some prasadam, sweet prasadam. So that day prasadam was, gulab jam. So it so happened that when people had come, they were about to leave. Prabhupada said one of his servants, you please distribute. So when servant came, he saw that some ants were already inside that jar of gulab jamuns, right? So this servant became very anxious. Prabhupada, so many ants are eating. Rather, they were inside. They're eating these gulab jamuns. Ants are, they'll not eat much. Don't worry. You distribute. So basically, compassion of Prabhupada. How sometimes he become very anxious. Oh, ants should kill them. No, they'll not eat much. You distribute. So like this, in many occasions, we see Prabhupada was very compassionate to every living entity. There are occasions wherein Prabhupada was like, there was one dog which was constantly, following Prabhupada and going around Prabhupada when Prabhupada was in America, in Hawaii, morning walk. It was very fond of Prabhupada. Prabhupada also was just, patting it, and he was going around whenever Prabhupada used to. And one fine day, when Prabhupada went on a morning walk, that dog was not to be seen, right? Then and all devotees heard and asking, where is it? And the owner also was searching, where is the dog? We also don't know, so mysteriously it is not to be seen. So Prabhupada was Prabhupada was silent. Basically, Prabhupada understood dog must have got liberation. So like this, many past times, Prabhupada was that way very, very compassionate, and very the way he was interacting with people around him, he was not making any distinction. Just like we ordinarily, we have so much of reservation and so much of we want to meet or speak to these people. We have a good relation with these people. We are well behaved with some people. That discrimination is not there. Equipoised. Right? How do you have this vyavahara, or the interaction with people, is what Krishna is telling us here. So we'll understand the process of the Ashtanga Yoga in the next section. So meanwhile, I'll conclude here. Anybody has anything to ask, discuss, comment before I close? Fine. So we'll conclude here. We'll continue. Thank you, everybody.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji,
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, I wanted to ask something.
Yeah, please.
Prabhuji, I just want to discuss. It is not a question. Prabhuji, you are saying we should see people equally, who is treating you badly or good, or we should be equal with everyone. But it is very difficult to practice in day-to-day life, in family, in relatives. It is very tough to practice with these people. How to?
It's called tapasya, right? Tapasya. How do you see? Point is, you when somebody is somebody is seeing you as enemy, but you see them as friend, and your behavior with them to be gentle is a challenge, right? Just like Prahlad Maharaj, even though his father was so much torturing him, but he was not at all showing any anger, any enmity. Of course, pure devotee status. He was, ideal example. So basically, at least we should know where we have to move forward. I give the example of that football match, football players and Prabhupada traveling now. Okay, we may not be so advanced that we can tolerate, but at least let us at least know what I'm supposed to be doing and start endeavoring to practice that step by step. That's what I mean to say. Yes, it is right now the interaction with other people, say family members, is very much troubling me. That trouble is carrying, other the tension and anxiety is going on in my mind, so much so that I'm not able to sleep properly. I'm not able to chant properly. That much emotional stress you have taken, which means it is not good for you. Right? At least you should know it is Krishna sanctioned. This is what Lord wants me to go through. Let me not, okay, let me pray for them and let me do my service. Right? Because bhakti is ahaituki apratiyata. Bhakti is without any motivation and without any hindrance, it can go on, provided you want it. Right? When you say that, oh, this person is hurting me, this person is, he's troubling me. Bhagavatam teaches very clearly, nobody can hurt anybody, nobody can trouble anybody unless you would have done something to him in his previous life. It is coming to you as your own karma. So basically, a devotee has philosophically, he is mature enough to see situations around him, people around him, and different circumstances around him as Krishna sanctioned. That's what it means here. When an advanced devotee is seeing everything what is happening around me, or in what situation I am put in, it is not that I have to complain about it, or I have to blame somebody about it, or like I don't want to blame Krishna for that. I take the responsibility because I am responsible for it. Sattenukampam samikshamano. It's a nice prayer which Brahma offers in Bhagavatam. He says that whatever various circumstances a person is going through, experiencing, a mature devotee will not complain anything about others or even Krishna. He says he takes the blame for himself. And rather he prays to Krishna, please give me strength to endure the situation and become fixed in your devotion. That is the way we are supposed to move forward. And Brahma says such a person who is constantly endeavoring to become fixed in service of Krishna, enduring all the difficulties which is coming up in his life, in different situations in terms of interaction with other people, friends, relatives, and various difficult circumstances. But even then, you are fixed up in your devotion. Then that person, Lord is always, he's going to recognize his devotion. That's the point. Okay, so these statements in Bhagavad Gita should only give us wonderful perspective of how to see things around us in the right perception. Otherwise, we will take things, only me? Why this problem only to me? Problem is for everybody in different situations. Right? So whatever happens is Krishna's sanction. For Krishna's sanction because I desire it. I deserve it. Very important. We always try to say that, I don't deserve it. I am, I'm very qualified. What is happening to me? We always want to become, I am always good. Like this aspect of I am good or I am very nice person, please take it out. You should always understand what all I have done, I don't have. I don't know, I don't remember. But at least what has happened to me right now from the scriptural understanding, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavad understanding, yes, it is my previous actions which has come out as a reaction, but Lord is very merciful. He has given me a token experience now. If I was not practicing his devotion, it would have been a much bigger way of experience which I could not even tolerate. That's the point. So that way, you're always anticipating Lord's mercy and thanking Lord, acknowledging his wonderful reciprocation that you have saved me. This mood of complete surrender to Krishna and always begging for his mercy is what the devotee's life is. Otherwise, in that sense, there are examples of devotees, much severe conditions. The example of Prahlad Maharaj is very severe. Even Haridas Thakur very severe. Compared to that, at least we are peacefully living our life and chanting and going on. The inconveniences which we think as inconveniences, in one sense, nothing compared to advanced devotees. That's the point. In fact, there's a nice statement which Prabhupada makes when there was a lot of when Prabhupada went to West, actually, he had to face a lot of challenges, and so many challenges he had to face that he was. It's not easy. It was not easy for him. So he used to, become very depressed. There was no support from government. There was no support from anybody. There was no support from people. Even his god brothers used to be very much, hesitant to come forward to support him or help him. That way, it was not easy for Prabhupada to carry on his mission in the initial days of Krishna consciousness. But nevertheless, Prabhupada, was he was deterred from any such conditions. I just want to read that one letter which Prabhupada, writes to one devotee, telling his own condition, how he went through the initial days, and what all he went through, in that way, and how Krishna, what we should be as pure as devotees, what we should be, how we should be going through, right? I'm just searching that. He says, it's a letter written in 1972 to one devotee. Do not be depressed. All along, my God brothers gave me only depression, repression, compression. Nice words you use. Depression, repression, compression. But I continued strong in my duty. Right? His God brothers didn't help him. They don't know why he had to go to West. First thing, they didn't even encourage him to go to West. And when he went to West, he requested, okay, send some devotees. I want to establish temples. Oh, no, we don't have devotees. We don't have funds. I will send funds, you send devotees. They were not agreeing at all. So Prabhupada says, all along my God brothers gave me only depression, compression, and repression. But I continued strong in my duty. So never mind, there is some discouragement. Continue with your work in full enthusiastic Krishna consciousness attitude of service. This is the message Prabhupada is giving to one devotee, because the devotee was complaining that this, that, Right. So in one situation, you will have some challenges. You are put in some other situation, you'll be having some other challenges. Actually, it's all game of your mind. Mind is playing a game with us. Okay. So never mind, there is some discouragement. Continue with your work in full enthusiastic Krishna consciousness attitude of service. This is the point. Okay. So whatever it is Krishna sanction. But never give up your duty of Krishna consciousness. Go on with that mood of complete, dedication to Krishna. Things will be taken care of. Okay. Fine. So we'll close here.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.